pretty low budget and I am over 40 and I have several skin conditions that I need to contend with. So what am I doing with my skincare to try and keep it to a minimum on my pretty low budget? So I'm going to do my nighttime routine with you, and I'm going to go through the numbers on how much this is costing me and which things I have decided to cut out. So the advantage of having purchased all my skincare online for many years running and basically buying pretty much the same things over and over again, I'm able to see how long a tub of something will last me. So obviously, if it costs this much and it lasts 6 months from that amount, figure out the yearly amount, and then I divide it by 26 to get the fortnightly amount. So for me, I like to have a fortnightly amount because I get paid fortnightly, and I like to set aside like micro amounts for things like skincare so that when I have to replenish that item, hopefully the money will be there. A lot of these items I have not had to repurchase since I've been on a pretty low income, but I have been setting aside some money to replenish them when I need to. Okay, so I've already washed my face. Normally I will just wash my face at the end of my shower in the evenings, and I wash all the things that need washing with this rather than soap because I have eczema. My eczema for the most part is pretty much under control at this stage. I know which things set it off, but I still have very dry skin, so I can't use soap on my skin, basically. So for this hydrating cleanser, I'm spending $7 a month or $3.20 a fortnight. I also have rosacea. So my eczema is generally over my eyes and on my neck and in here. So those are my main areas that I'll get eczema periodically. Unlike my eczema, my rosacea is an ongoing thing. So I've found something that works for it, and at the moment I'm not willing to stop using this because it was really, really terrible before I found this. So it comes back if I stop using this, basically. So what I'm using for it is azelaic acid, and it costs me $6.30 a month or $3 a fortnight. I've rounded these numbers, by the way, and I have checked them. Most nights I will use this, so I use it's probably less than a pea size, like that much. And I use it on my whole face because I have acne as well as rosacea, but I make sure that a lot goes here because that's the problem area. So that's what I use most nights. This is the item that I'm spending the most money on in my skincare routine. So it's a CeraVe night cream, skin renewing night cream. So I use probably about that much, which you're probably thinking is too much, and you might be right, but I have very dry skin. This one is costing me the most. It is $28 a month on average. Sometimes I can get it for $24. Sometimes it's as much as $32. But I try and get it for $28 at the most. I know it's a bit expensive and I probably use too much of it. I do think now that winter is over, I might not need as much. And the final thing that I use at night is just some standard Vaseline, which is very cheap and very effective. I've had this for months and months and there's still heaps of it left. So basically I will put this on my lips, obviously, but also on any like dry patches that I have at the moment. So often I'll have dry patches here with the rosacea. and over my eyes. The Vaseline works out to be 50 cents a month or 23 cents a fortnight. So very affordable. I'll use it on all sorts of dry skin, like my elbows. So anyone who has dealt with acne-prone skin and rosacea and eczema knows that when you find something that doesn't flare up any one of those conditions, you tend to kind of stick with it, because a lot of products will give me acne even if they don't flare up the other things. Fragrance is a no-go for me personally because I have such sensitive skin. Okay, so once a week I use a retinol. Now I started using the retinol mostly for my acne. I started maybe, I think I was 38, 39. This is the retinol that I use, but I only use it once a week. So I think I am fortunate in that I have such sensitive skin that I could never be tempted to use it more often, and this tub lasts me 6 months. For my retinol, it is $7.50 a month and $3.50 a fortnight. If I need to, this will be the next thing I cut out. My skincare selections have largely come from watching board certified dermatologists in the US who make YouTube videos, who have made recommendations. So that's why I've picked what I've picked and given it a go. But yeah, like I mentioned, it's been many years that I've been using these items and they seem to work for me. So I used the retinol on its own and that didn't clear the acne up completely. And then I used the retinol and the azelaic acid, and that's been really effective. So I haven't tried taking the retinol away and then just seeing what it would be like with just the azelaic acid. So I can absolutely do that and see if that works. Look, obviously the retinol also makes my skin look nice, so I'm not complaining about the other aspects of it. So I've ummed and ahed about whether to broach the healthcare topic on here or not, but just as a side note that does kind of relate to this, I have recently gone on hormonal birth control, not because I actually want birth control, but because I'm dealing with a lot of unpleasant perimenopause symptoms, and I can't afford to be going to lots of doctors to find one that will potentially prescribe hormone replacement therapy for me. So I just went to a free clinic and got birth control pills, which will cost me less than $7 for 4 months, which is very affordable for me. So far, so good. The biggest symptom that was making life very, very difficult was heart palpitations, which have now gone away now that I've replaced some of that estrogen. I won't go into this too much. Please don't worry, I'm absolutely fine. I did talk to a GP at the free clinic. Just the premise of why I was asking for this medication is not what I claimed it to be. But at the end of the day, like, I still saw an actual doctor and had like my blood pressure checked and had a general checkup to see that it was safe for me. Just, I didn't give the actual reason to them for why I wanted this medication, if that makes sense. So I did see a doctor, just I wasn't 100% honest with the doctor about why I wanted it. Yes, so also as a side effect of that, I have noticed my acne has been slightly better. So hopefully the longer I'm on birth control, the more my skin will clear up, and maybe I'll only need to use the azelaic acid on the rosacea and not on my whole face. So that will cut down on costs too. That is my evening routine. I am ready for bed. Generally, when I get up in the morning, I'll splash some water on my face and that'll be it. If I have particularly dry skin, I might moisturize again with this, with the night cream, but maybe just a little bit less. But if I'm not feeling dry, then I won't even do that. I'll just splash water and that'll be me. If I am leaving the house during daylight hours and it's going to be UV4 or above, then I will wear sunscreen. So this is the sunscreen that I use. So yeah, it's just the fragrance-free Bondi Sands. You can get it in a smaller tube as well and call it like a facial sunscreen. but it's exactly the same product in this slightly larger tube. And I think I got this half price for $8.50. So it's very affordable. It doesn't break me out, which is quite rare with sunscreens. Lots of sunscreens give me acne or will flare up my rosacea, but this one doesn't. If I'm going out, then I'll give my face a rinse, let it air dry, and then I'll just put a sunscreen on. At the moment, the sunscreen is costing me $2.85 a month and $1.30 a fortnight. However, as my lifestyle changes moving forward, I may end up using more sunscreen than that. So yeah, I'll just have to keep an eye on that. But I try and always grab this when it's half price. So the total for everything I've mentioned there per month is $52.15, and the fortnightly amount is $24.23. So I will just quickly show you some things that I will not be repurchasing. They are nice to haves, but once they're gone, they're gone. So the two things that I won't be repurchasing, this is a vitamin C and ferulic acid serum. I do like this. I do think it brightens my skin tone. So it's not that I don't like it, I just don't feel like I need it going forward. So I will use it until it's gone. So generally I will put this on if I'm going outside during the day, and it will go underneath the sunscreen. And the final thing is some rosehip oil. I do like rosehip oil. It feels really nice on my skin. Again, I just feel like I can do the same thing with the Vaseline for a lot cheaper. But I do really like rosehip oil. And I will definitely happily use that whole thing. So that is my skincare. But I do think I could cut out the retinol, which would save $3.50 a fortnight, which would bring it closer to the $20 mark. This is the moisturizer that I use on my body, but I'm really bad at remembering or wanting to moisturize my body. I have very dry skin, so I know that I should moisturize, but I generally don't. So that will last a very long time because I'm unlikely to actually use it. I don't know, I just don't like the feeling of moisturizer on my body. I don't know what it is. I just don't like it. I'll use it if my skin is so bad that it's cracking and uncomfortable, but it has to get pretty bad before I'll use a body moisturizer. If you feel like sharing, or if this is an interest of yours in any way, shape or form, I'd love to hear about what you're doing for your skin. Have you had to cut back in any areas of your skincare, and how did that go? I feel like anyone who has had skin conditions can probably relate that when you find something that's relatively affordable, that doesn't flare up any of your skin conditions, you tend to want to just stick with it. So I'm trying to cut back on the things that I can cut back on, but I also am aware that I may end up having more prescriptions to fill if I let my skin get worse. So it's kind of finding that balance. If this is your first time here, hi, welcome, I'm Enid. And earlier this year, at the age of 40, I became unexpectedly single after a 20+ year relationship. And I'm now on a pretty low budget, trying to get back on my feet. So that's where I'm at. This is my skincare. Thank you for watching. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.